Let's go live, y'all. Hope all is well. Hope all is positive. Everybody on the book. Facebook, we're about to get Instagram up and running. Let's get Instagram up and running. Real quick. How everybody feeling? Hold on, let me get right. Media effects. The youth, we got a good episode today. We're gonna be talking about this social media that we currently on right now. We're gonna talk about it real quick and easy. We're gonna run through it. We're going to run through it. Let me get my screens right. Let me get my sound levels right. IG pumping up. We got live going boom. We good to go. Get my IG pumping. All right. Everybody on the Alvin Codner on the my personal, y'all go ahead and chime in, tap in. What's going on IG? What's going on Facebook? What's happening? We got a smooth episode today. It's going to be a new or videos I haven't seen yet. I haven't viewed them yet, but we are going to have a good time. All right, we're going to run through these episodes for sure. Not episode, the show. Yes, sir. My guy P with the business, man. Yeah, you know, we we getting it right, man. We getting it right. We leveling up, man. You know, we always gonna be creative in some form or fashion, my guy. All right, so we're gonna get it running, right? We're gonna get it running soon. I'm gonna just wait till a few people come in. Facebook come in, IG come in for my pages. We're gonna get right real quick. Let me make a comment real quick. So y'all hang out with me real quick. Hang out for a little bit. We're gonna get started soon. Give me like 2-3 minutes. We gonna get started. Pete. Yes, sir. Try to be official like you, bro. Try to be official like you, my guy. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for you, bro, I wouldn't even be flying drones. Remember that. Remember that. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be flying drones. Drones would not be. I would not have any footage with any drones, my guy. If it wasn't for you, man. So I forever appreciate you. I forever appreciate you, man. We gonna get started though soon, man. We gonna get started real soon. Miss you too, my boy. Miss you too, man. Yes, sir. Skull, my guy. Yeah, we gonna get started, man. Real quick. It's a lot going on, especially the video that we're gonna go over. You know what I mean? How this social media affects the youth. It affects adults too. It affects adults as well. So we gonna run through it real quick. Give me 1 more minute and we're gonna get started. We're gonna get started real quick. How social media affects. How everybody doing, man? How y'all feeling though? We're gonna start in like 40 seconds. Here we go. All right. You pin this comment real quick. We go in it. Here we go. All right. All right, y'all. I'm gonna run through this intro real quick, and then we are going to get started to the Mizax. All right. Unplug this. Let me get my audio. Can y'all hear me smooth? Can y'all hear me smooth? And do y'all hear the music playing in the background? Let me know if everything is hearing solid. Drop a 1 if y'all can hear me smoothly. Drop a 1 if you can hear me smooth. Drop a 2 if you can hear the music as well. I'll gratefully appreciate it. All right. Let me see. All right. So I'm gonna get the live started up and running. All right. So today's topic. All right. Here both lovely. All right. So today's topic is how social media is affecting our youth. Copyright disclaimer. Of course, I'm gonna have two disclaimers. My copyright disclaimer, of course, this is fair use. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act in 1976. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance of made for fair use for the purpose. Oh snap! Let me get my setup right. My floating earth. Let me get my floating earth right. All right. For the purpose of for the purposes of criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research, fair use is use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor for fair use. My guy CRG, what to do? Make sure y'all follow CRG, man, legendary guy. Life insurance agent, life insurance industry. Holla at him and the whole Bill team. All right. So yeah, so there you go. That's my one disclaimer. My second disclaimer as well. I don't love nor hate anybody within this video. I have nothing personal against them. I am literally reviewing, and I am the observer, and I am giving my fair share of opinions. From my perspective as an educator, as a Black male educator who deals with young teens every single day, teaching middle school, as well as a former juvenile detention officer who dealt with the worst of the worst type of kids. Not to say worse, but misbehaved and lack of guidance kids in the state of Florida. All right, so here we go. Let's get into it. All right, so let me remove this copyright real quick. Turn my music down real quick, and we're gonna hop right into the video. Let me move my title down here. I was gonna have a guest, so I might move this up. Move this down real quick. Get you out of there real quick. All right, here we go. Let's get started.
Because I'm giving them attention about it.
Let me know if y'all can hear it. Let me drop a one in the comment if you can hear the.
I'm pro social media because I like to send memes to my grandma, I like to keep connected with my friends, but most importantly, I think it's a useful platform and tool.
I didn't know what a trans guy was before I was on TikTok. I just thought I was a masculine girl.
I have social media, but I don't use them. I kind of just have enough posts that doesn't make me seem like a loser.
Oh, did y'all hear what she just said? Let me rewind it back real quick.
I didn't know what a trans guy was before I was on TikTok. I just thought I was a masculine girl.
I have social media, but I don't use them. I kind of just have enough posts that doesn't make me seem like a loser.
So look, she just said, I just want to keep in mind, I know this is early in the video, but I just want you to keep in mind. She literally said, I just make enough posts to make sure that I don't seem like I'm a loser. We live in a world where they really believe that if they have an X amount of videos or posts on their page, they're cool or they're winners. That mindset alone itself, we didn't even start the video yet, but that mindset alone is the fact that they really put value or so much value within the amount of posts that's on their page in order for them to be cool. Because if not, they're going to be deemed a loser amongst their peers. It's unfortunate, but here we go. I just caught that. It was super early. Here we go.
I find it really toxic because everything's based off numbers. I just want to see how pro social media has helped their life because it hasn't really helped me as a person.
I'm a content creator on TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat. I'd say that I would make $30,000 to $40,000 a month.
I'm anti-social media because of the present algorithms in place.
So do you think Instagram is the most detrimental social media?
No, I think TikTok is. Because it's manipulating their users and taking so much information from them, and they're showing that through the For You page, and people don't care.
Hi, I'm Alexa. I'm 18 years old and I'm pro social media. And I love social media just because of the culture it brings.
Hi, I'm Phillips, plural. I am on the pro side and I just like to spread awareness.
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm 16. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, and a little bit of YouTube. And I am pro social media because it helped me meet a lot of other trans kids when I was struggling.
Hi, I'm Ella. I'm 15, and I'm anti-social media because I find it really toxic and competitive for myself.
Hi, I'm Emma, I'm 18, and I am anti-social media, and I'm the CEO of a movement that works to kind of promote a healthier existence on social media.
My name is Emmy. I'm 16. I'm anti-social media because of personal experience and like general anxiety.
I want the pro-social media people to go on the left.
The thing that's different about a Verbo vacation home, you always have the whole place to yourself.
All right, here we go. First question.
I'm going to read out the prompt. If you agree, step forward. And if you disagree, stay put. I spend more than 3 hours on social media daily.
So for those of y'all who never watched the Jubilee, and this is my first time watching this video, but Jubilee is a YouTube channel that I watch often. It's called Middle Ground. This specific series, and basically they ask a series of questions, and then they tell the ones who agree to step forward, and those who don't agree to stand where they're at, and then they'll have a discussion after. So the first question was, who spends over 3 hours on social media? So here we go.
I definitely find myself scrolling for hours when I'm bored, and I definitely get sucked in, and I can't stop.
For me, a lot of my school stuff got pushed to social media, all the clubs and orgs. Another one that's more personal to me is that keeps you in touch with your family. All my family's in Vietnam, so yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of my friends are online, and I'm just like on their accounts, you know, like hyping them up or just like texting them on Instagram because I don't like to use regular text.
It's definitely my number one source of entertainment. I don't watch as much YouTube or Netflix, and I kind of just go through TikTok, and like that's what brings me joy sometimes.
Yeah, TikTok is easy.
Yeah. Short attention spans.
Oh yeah.
You get sucked in, like you go on for like 30 minutes and then you're just there forever, and that happens to me all the time.
But sometimes I spend more time comparing myself to others. Oh, I'm not getting that many likes, and it kind of brings me down.
But if I went on TikTok and I kind of just analyzed everyone and just was like trying to compare myself, then it would definitely bring me down. But just as a content creator, I just have the mindset of like, oh, this is what you make, and maybe I can make it differently.
I want the disagrees to come forward.
Prior to a movement I started called Log Off, I spent about 5 hours on social media a day, and it was to talk with my sister who was in college, but I also got really bad repercussions about my body, and I felt really terrible after scrolling. But you know, after I rethought about how I wanted to spend my time on there, it became much more productive. So I still spend time on like Instagram. It's just to like get a meme from my college sister or to like talk with friends that really bring me up.
I have an Instagram, I have a TikTok, but like I never open the app like ever. I'm clearly not the skinniest, and like I have alopecia, so I'm losing my hair, and like I'll look on social media and like I'll see some like K-pop star and they're like a 00 with the longest hair on the planet, and they're like like their skin is silk smooth. And when I take pictures, no matter what I do, you can see the whites of my scalp. So I don't take photos, and because I don't take photos, I don't have anything to post, and because I don't have anything to post, I don't see a point in opening the app. Plus, I'd rather spend my time reading.
I used to be
I wish she was my student. Spend her time reading. I wish she was my student. But anyway.
more meek and mild. I was just like, oh no, they're gonna comment I'm ugly, they're gonna hate on me. But then when TikTok started blowing up, one of my videos blew up, and I was just like, hey, they don't hate me. And I was just like, oh, okay, the confidence, it's coming in.
And I get 100 notifications a day from my best friend saying, I found this new video you would love. And I'll click on it occasionally, and I love the video because it's funny, it's short, and it like matches my personality. But it makes me really upset when like I FaceTime with my friend and she's scrolling through TikTok. It's really scary to see my friends kind of disconnect with me and just connect with these people they've never met.
What do you think is the misconception pro-social media people would have about people who are anti-social media?
That we're narcs and that we kind of hate social media like parents hate social media. I don't think they really know our stories and know why exactly we don't want to exist on the platforms in the way that they are.
I've had hurtful things posted about me, and the thing about the internet, it's there forever, and it's not like a word that was just said to me on the playground. It's something that's out there and other people can see.
Social media makes you anti-social.
The question was, social media makes you anti-social.
There can be communities found within social media, but my personal experience with it, and from a lot of stories that I've heard through Log Off, is that a lot of kids have lost people because of social media. And I think that that constant mindless scrolling allows you to kind of go into this bubble and just hunker down and to not really talk with people.
I know a bunch of kids that like don't know how to communicate outside of like an emoji or like outside of like a picture, or like only have one picture face, and like
I absolutely agree with what she just stated. I believe that social media does make people antisocial in the traditional way. I don't believe a lot of these kids that I have in my school, and well, that I either taught or took care of in the after school arena, they don't know how to literally walk up to a person or a friend and say, "Hey, what's going on? How are you?" Or they don't know how to express themselves verbally or in person because they're so used to just either one, they're behind the safety of their phone. They are using emojis, like she said, is very short with their conversation or short with their words because they're literally using all the abbreviations as possible that they see on social media and etc. They they lose that social learning or that social aspect or how to be social in person, which will affect them unfortunately and as they grow up because it's just it's I agree with the sentiment. Like I think it's making them more.
we'll repeatedly take the same, like we'll stop everyone in the friend group to pick a wall and just sit there and pose and take 100 photos and stand there and wait. Be like, no, 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 take one more.
I definitely like would base like entire friend groups to hang out and just take pictures. Like we wouldn't communicate, it would just be pictures just to post on Instagram. And then I would find myself that like we didn't even connect when we were hanging out. It wasn't quality time because I feel like, oh, I have to get that perfect photo of all of us looking like we're having fun. Even if we're not, I just need to get that so I can post it.
After a while, you feel the pressure and everything. People start being people and they're just empty profile pictures. People will come to me and they won't know my name. They'll go by my screen name. And then I'm just like, am I human?
No, like seriously, you gotta think about every time a person takes a picture. If you think about just like who she was saying that it was empty when she goes out to a concert, like not imagine. Whenever if just look at somebody that goes out to a club or a concert and they take a picture and they smile, and then as soon as the picture is taken, their face goes automatically back, not from the smile, but goes back to focusing on making the caption, focusing on what they're gonna say, and then editing the photo, and then they post it. And then at that same time, they're missing the whole concert that which they came and paid their money to enjoy. But unfortunately, since they're so worried about social media and how they're gonna look and letting people know that they went to the concert or whatever the event is, they waste so much time and energy that's given to the social media platform instead of literally enjoying the concert that they paid for. All about the looks, all about how they're going to be perceived by anyone and everyone else in the world who this isn't there. It really doesn't matter. But here we go. We keep going.
I like to ask questions in comments and ask like, oh, where'd you get that? Or, you know, like, what hair dye did you use? Or something like that, because I think it's a lot more engaging. Or I like to, sometimes I'll make my posts, I'll make it a question, like the caption. I like to interact with like a lot of my followers through comments because I'm uncomfortable, you know, messaging them personally. It's good to like interact with the people that support you.
But what would you say to like bigger influencers like Kylie Jenner or like Kim Kardashian that can't have that interaction via the comments?
Yeah, and then Alex, some people just don't even reply to you. They'll just double tap, like the message.
Going off what you said about like making real human connection, have you ever like looked into like social media accounts that like promote that? Because I don't know if you guys know, we're not really strangers. If you guys know them, they have a card game. You don't know. Okay, so it's basically a card game where you have perception, analysis, and then reflection, and then you just have conversation like, or how are you really, or you know, if how like what would you name the chapter of this in your life, and then boom, we're in a 20-minute conversation that like she feels really low and she's trying to change, and you know, and I would have never thought that if this social media account didn't push me or didn't encourage me to have deeper conversations.
I agree, but I think the issue is with the algorithm in place, like that's not popping up on my feed. Like I don't know that those exist. And because it's so expansive and because there's so much hollowness and mindless scrolling, like I've never found that. If I found that, I would have loved that.
And that's another thing about social media. As she just stated, she said she has never seen that page, right? And that page is supposed to be positive, correct? So with that being stated, I remember I seen they did a research where Facebook Facebook did a project where they have control of the algorithm and what you see, but basically they put on an X amount of people's timeline negative posts as far as whether it was bad news, people dying, uh, harm to other people, just sad, depressive news, and then in comparison, they put another half of X number of people, and they did positive news, people getting saved, things of that nature, and they seen that the people who seen the negative news and the depressive type of post were also like 98% of them continued to post that type of content. So they posted depressive things, they shared it all the time, and they are more likely to view those type of videos, and then the algorithm just automatically stays that way. And those who posted the positive ones um, posted more positive posts, videos, photos, and etc. And they were more lenient to follow all the positive pages. So a lot of that as well is systematic too, unfortunately. But also, I do know I started a few different pages. When I started my other pages, I understood once I started. So I have a travel page. All I did was follow travel pages, traveling and lodging pages, and that's all I seen on my timeline. Because I started just liking those type of posts. Same with my comedy page. I just started liking comedy type of pages, and that's all I see on my timeline because that's what's gonna show up on your suggestions. So a lot of times, if you see a bunch of negative things that's on your timeline, 9 times out of 10, it's because of either who you're following and or the type of post that you're liking. You may personally be making your own timeline toxic because you are liking these type of things, and these kids are doing it all the time. So it's just unfortunate, but that's just how it goes. All right, here we go.
Algorithm and the fact that you never see those things. Like, I always feel like we're on a whole different side of TikTok than you are, and all it takes is just to look up like deep conversations on the internet. There would have been a Vogue article about we're not really friends, and then you would have looked it up, you know? So in order to change your algorithm, you just have to change the things that you're looking for.
But don't you think maybe like the algorithm in place is what's making it so dangerous? Because it's like they're pumping out these really terrible kind of like content videos, but also you've got like the attention economy where they're like fighting to get your information to then give to people, to like to put ads in your feed that you won't notice.
Even if you're not on social media, you know it's going to do that anyway. Like if you're searching anything up, like if you're searching something up on Safari and you go onto your computer, onto Chrome, the ads will probably be the same. You know,
Right.
it's
Yeah,
just,
it's just the internet.
It's just technology, you
Right.
know.
I sat down here saying that social media makes people antisocial, but hearing Alexa and Alex speak, it makes me remember that social media isn't just the whole TikTok scene. It's also schools. There's clubs and stuff. I've made a couple new friends from social media because they live in Ventura, I live in San Diego. So I don't think it's necessarily just the whole big fame thing. There's also the smaller groups. Yeah, I'd like to say social media changed my life. I'm more confident. I actually think about what I wear. I used to just roll out of bed, grab what's near. I do see how social media can be bad, but I like to think of it in a positive light.
I have been bullied on social media.
I know you guys remember like those Musical.ly days. I feel like that was my biggest bullying because it's like it's just like entering a whole different society. It's just like when you're going out, you're making videos, you don't really know what you want to post or what you want to do or what you want to look like. So it is going to be cringy at first and it's not going to be great.
Musical.ly was definitely a dark time. More recently, I did have a hate account on Instagram. They like told me to kill myself and told me that like because I was upset about my pet dying that I should kill myself and that I like was ugly and that I looked like a clown. And yeah, I really, really, really let it get to me for a.
And that's one of the biggest problems I think that I have with social media is that I feel like the kids, what's going on, Yahweh? What I believe is the kids really can't control what's a real account, what's a fake account. They don't know exactly how to decipher all of the negativity and know that the people or the kids or the scammers or whatever the case may be that are there to attack them and take them off the route, they don't know how to. They don't have any defense for that, and it's unfortunate because we as parents, teachers, educators, it's kind of hard to. The only thing we could do is literally take their phone away in a sense, and if we don't do that, it's kind of hard to break it down because half of the time, a lot of the adults aren't even like the kids. At least in my students, they're getting raised by their grandparents. They don't know nothing about social media, so it's just really unfortunate that the kids really that are raised in the social media era is really affected by just the foolery that's on social media because they cannot decipher what's real, what's right. They can't decipher what's real, what's fake. And then all these comments by people, scammers, whoever that don't even pay their bills, they don't feed their food, but they put so much energy into it, so where now they become distressed, depressed, and suicidal. And then we, as the adults, the coaches, the parents, the teachers, have to bear witness to the negativity that comes off of it. But we'll continue.
Long time, but then I realized, like they're only making fun of me because I'm giving them attention about it. So I just had to like block them from all my accounts and block all the people they were following and block all the people that were following them, and then I just had to stop looking. And if I don't look at it, then I don't know what they're saying.
Right, and that's the thing. It's just like once you stop looking into it, you just stop feeding the fire and it will die eventually because you just don't even pay it no mind.
I don't have a big following, so it's mostly people I know. Usually it's TikToks, and it's not with my name in it, but you can tell that it's implied towards me. And I try not to comment, but like there's some points where they're coming out and saying like completely false things about me. Posting and hating on someone through the internet is completely different from in person because it's there forever. You don't have control over that because it's up to them to delete it.
Here's how we're going to stop making excuses and learn those languages next year. You throw on a little Pimsleur and you do the chores you had.
So I have had rude comments been made about me, but I've never been like heavily cyberbullied because I don't really have a big following and because of the community that I'm in. I've just read hundreds of stories about kids who like felt like they wanted to kill themselves because of the rude comments they were getting. And I just remember like there were nights when I would cry and I'd be so upset because I couldn't really do anything about it.
My cyberbullying experience, the first like big one, I was in like this like dance team, right? And I was the shortest kid, the fattest kid, and like one of like 3 Asians. So I clearly stuck out no matter what I did. And you know, like after practice, like all the girls would like do that like 2014 like ass out like phase and like the duck face thing pose. One day, like one of them like invited me to take the photo with them, and I thought like this was the only way you could pose on Instagram. So like I did it, and then they took the photo and they were all like laughing and they started uploading it. I didn't know why. Over like the next 2.5, 3 years, they would continuously like bring me into the photo. Like I would never just go up. They'd always ask me, hey, do you want to be in the photo? Do you want to be in the photo? So I felt like I was being included. But when I like got a phone and when I got an Instagram and when I started following like my fellow dance team members, I would look at their Instagrams and like from the beginning, it's photos of me. They'll zoom in on me and they'll be like, look at that fat thing, that fucking monster. Like, is it trying to pose? Like, what does that thing think it is? Like, do they think they're cute? I was in like fucking elementary school. Like, I don't know how to deal with myself. Like, I barely know how to open a peanut butter jar, and you expect me to know how to deal with people calling me it and like a monster, you know what I mean?
And you know what that also does? Unfortunately, that's gonna stop them. Like social media really stops them from actually going after all their dreams because, of course, we as adults, I think adults do it as well. People don't go after their dreams because they feel like they are going to one either embarrass themselves or they feel like somebody is going to say something about them in a negative way, which in reality, no matter what you do in life, somebody out there in the world is gonna not like it, not like you, not like what you're doing. And that's just how life goes. But to these kids now, when they get bullied or they're worrying about what's being said on social media by another set of kids. Um, since they've been bullied, since they've been talked about, whatever case be, now they're not gonna want to do anything based off of social media, which is in a sense a fake and very fake world, because a lot of things that are on social media are extremely fake, extremely effects, extremely what's the word, fabricated. So you know, unfortunately, this is it's just it's very it's a downfall for the kids. Unfortunately, that grows up in it, that has the mentality of like, man, you know what, this is a product of how the kids are going to grow up, not to want to pursue a lot of their dreams because of social media. I believe there's some positive effects, but there's a lot of more negatives, I believe.
Social media can cause young people to hurt themselves.
I agree.
Instagram, TikTok, everything is the highlight reel. My Instagram, I'm not gonna post the ugliest picture of me. When I scroll through my friends, in the back of my head, I should know that that's the same for them. Yet I'm like, they look so pretty. Why do I not look like that? And I think for younger generations, it's really scary that they're gonna have to deal with this.
I have this one photo that's so vivid in my memory, and like, I'm at like an aquarium and I'm leaning against like one of the fish tanks, and my dad and my brother are next to me, and I'm like half my brother's height, my face just sagging, my body, like my clothes don't fit on me, and I'm like, at that time I didn't realize how depressed I was and how much these dance photos were ruining me. That's kind of when I knew like social media is not something I'm not safe here, you know? And so an excuse I can make for not pleasing people online is that I don't use it, and then I'll be okay.
The bad thing about social media is like if you have a bad friend in real life and your mom's like avoid them, don't be next to them and stuff, but on social media you almost can't avoid them. And I feel like that's where like a lot of kids can get hurt because they comment rude things on your things, or they don't share the same opinions, and those friends are horrible, you know?
I don't know how Tumblr is now because I don't go on it, but there are a lot of like self-harm pages and eating disorder pages with like ideas to make yourself lose weight. There's so much of that on Tumblr that I had to get off of Tumblr, and I think that definitely will hurt kids now and in the future.
I just couldn't imagine being like 10 or 11 or 12, just being so young and looking through this and taking all these suggestions in. I'm 18 now, like I go through it and I know better, but I feel like you could get seriously hurt when you're young because you really just don't know any better.
Yeah, I'll just play back on what you said about how little kids don't know better. I saw a hack where it was like scoop ice cream and it said microwave the spoon. Most children wouldn't know. Yeah, in cases like that, it does hurt me to be pro social media. But social media, I think it was always more intended for more discretion.
Like I have this friend named Jessie Page, and she is very, very like pro body positivity and like pro like mental health, you know, like really like I want to get better. That's why I keep all my posts up, because I want people to be able to go back and look. I wasn't on T for 3 years, you know, when I was out, you know, like I was fully out and like fighting for myself to start hormones. My friend Jessie too, she also puts before and after. She always puts like, this is the real me.
Do you think social media has changed your life?
100%. I don't think I would be the person I am if it wasn't for social media. I first came out on TikTok and my parents didn't even know. That's how they found out, actually.
Children under the age of 13 should not be allowed on social media.
Master Control Manufacturing Excellence presents AS.
Well, I agree. The question was, children should not be allowed under 13 to be on social media.
Well, it's kind of funny because I talk to a lot of organizations with Log Off, and the main point that they try to get across is that they're trying to advocate for kids to get cell phones and technology and social media at an older age. And you know, years ago I would have said, that's really stupid. That's like the drug talk, like don't do drugs, don't be on social media. I'm not gonna listen to that. But then after years of kind of self-reflection, I wish someone would have said, you don't need Instagram to have a social life.
If I go back to like my 13-year-old self and like I didn't have all the experiences I had and I just kind of knew like, oh, it's a good place, I would be posting God knows what, right? Kids are dumb. And if you give kids a platform to do whatever they want, they're gonna be dumb.
There's no educational advocacy out there to actually allow for that to happen. And when they are there, it's this older teacher who like has a completely different outlook on social media because they never existed in an age where it was your life.
You know, I just feel like it's just unrealistic. When I was 13, I was fully on social media, making videos every single day. So I just feel like, if anything, it helped me more when I was 13. Like, it really allowed me to just know what things were and not be so, what is going on? Like, you know, not knowing a lot of things.
Because like I was on social media at like 11 years old. Like I was a child and on social media. And my dad told me, he was like, you know, but you're also trans and you're also like LGBT, you know, you need to be able to meet people because your bubble that you would know of trans people would be 0.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I think we're underestimating children. They're relentless. We put an age limit on Instagram or an age limit on like an adult type website. They're still gonna get through.
I didn't have social media. I was probably like the last couple people out of my like friends because my mom knew the restrictions and how the things that are on the internet is you can't control what other people are posting and you can't control what your kids are seeing. But I believe that like other kids mature at different ages and we can't really restrict certain people from going on this platform when it's public.
It's difficult because I do think what you said is true, where if I was 13 and someone said, you have to be 13 to get on this app, or like you have to be older, I would have lied about my age. And I know there are millions of kids like that are like, break the system and would like put in a different age.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. With any problem, you can't just take the problem and move it over here.
Exactly.
It's all about the education. It should be a class, like how sex ed is. There should be like tech ed.
Like computer lab days exist. Like, was that just my school? Like, there were compuder lab days or
we
something.
Where we just practice typing.
Right,
now.
where you practice typing. Well, like instead of just practicing typing, practice how to not be an idiot online and like how to like learn and understand like the harm of it. Because like if I had that education, I know that like I would have like at least braced myself for it. Once COVID kind of hit, I realized like I need social media or else I can't like find anyone. I know some people that kind of think like when I say that I don't use social media a lot, they're like, oh, do you think you're cooler than us because you don't need like social media validation? But it's more like I'm afraid of if I search for that validation that I'm not gonna get it.
Social media has educated me more than my school has.
The question was social media educate.
I know all
educated me
schools,
more
they
than
don't
my
talk about
school
some
has.
deep topics that social media brings to light, and it teaches you how to get through it and how to do it without talking to your family if you are uncomfortable and without talking to the school, because sometimes schools don't have that education in place.
My teacher told everyone that RuPaul's Drag Race was a good example of trans people. Of course, like I got in trouble for like correcting him or whatever, but it was like I could not let him spread fake information like that because those are not trans people, those are drag queens, and that is a totally different topic. I'm very far in my trans.
My only issue with here's my issue with social media education. It's very subjective. I mean, a lot of education is subjective, but for these kids to say that they learn more on social media than the school district, well, of course you are, because the school district has a curriculum and you only learn 7 subjects. If you went to a public school, you only learn 8 subjects a day or whatever the case may be. So of course, in a sense, you're going to learn more, but social media also has a lot of misinformation and etc. And it's all perspective based as well. At the end of the day, everything will be a perspective based off the page that you're following, what they're saying in the video, and same as perspective based when it comes to the school education system. But it's unfortunate that they don't have certain courses and classes in the public school district where the students should be able to learn about what the world has to offer and what goes on in the world. Because of course, in the public school district, it is very red taped and red line. But I'm assuming, I'm pretty sure if I was a kid, I would probably say the same thing. I learned more on social media than the education. HBR, what's going on? So yeah, but we'll continue.
Position for 16, and social media definitely helped me a lot.
Yeah. And then the fact that you even got in trouble for that shows that school is at they're lacking.
Personal experience is how you learn the most. You go on social media and there's someone talking about this eating disorder, this depression that they went to. It's just someone actually talking to a camera, giving you real advice that a school really could never do.
I want to preface it with I'm very lucky. The school that I go to, Altamont, is like a private school in Alabama, and they're very, very good with kind of integrating these conversations into the academic dialogue. I totally agree with everything y'all have said. I've learned how to rainbow loom, and I've done a bunch of different things on social media, but I've also looked up like election, and there's been misinformation after misinformation, and with COVID. So for y'all that answered, how do you kind of outweigh like the chance to learn a bunch of new things with also the chance of seeing a lot of stuff that isn't necessarily true?
I think you just have to look for credible websites. I mean, it's just like when you're doing an essay, you wouldn't believe, just feel like blogs, any of that kind of stuff. It is easy to get a lot of misinformation, but it's also easy to see that this information is fake.
But what about like a young kid that can't really discern that? Because I feel like that's the danger.
My dad actually put the Washington Post and the New York Times on my phone so that I would look at it more, so I would get the notifications. All I had to do was put it on my phone.
There have been times when I've disagreed with what the teacher said, and that is true, but I also think that with social media, with the algorithm in place, it's harder to discern.
I disagree with you, just because I feel like as kids we look up to our teachers for the right answers, and if they are like providing like a biased answer, we're getting the wrong information.
If you've taken a political science class, there will be times where the teacher's own political beliefs might make the learning biased. So comparable to social media, it's about the same.
Yeah, but I think it's more dangerous on social media because I agree it is very dangerous in the classroom, especially when you look up to teachers. With the algorithm, they don't have that humanity for it to actually discern like, oh, this is an article about how masks aren't important. So like, but I'm gonna pump that out.
But I would disagree with you for that exact reason because it's just one human, one way of life, one perspective, one thought, you know. But at least when you go on social media and you put up Trump, it's gonna come up both sides of the story. You know, and it's up to you to differentiate and read it and see, okay, this comes from this credible website and this is coming from a blog on Wikipedia.
What if we're talking about like just a straightforward thing like math, science, or English? Sometimes you can get like a cruddy teacher and they won't really teach you that well. You just type that into social media, they'll ring it right up.
I've never actually been helped by a math teacher. I mean, photo math was the only thing that helped me. I mean, and it's not even like it only gave me the answers. I mean, you scrolled up and it literally showed you step by step what it does, and you look for the reasoning. Here's the reasoning.
And sometimes if I have a lot of trouble with like an assignment or something,
the only thing that I think is the instant gratification that the students get from this type of learning or social media learning. They type in the quick how-tos. They want the 1, 2, 3 steps. But I always say that anything that is worth it takes time. Anything that has a high value is gonna take time to achieve. So the quick 1, 2, 3 steps or 10 steps to get $1 million or 5 steps to start a business or anything of that nature, and they go on social media and search it, it kind of sets them up for failure, I believe, because if you don't take the time to either read the books from the professionals and experts, or go to trade schools, or find a mentor within that field and actually really do a deep dive into whatever it is that you're trying to learn, I think that's like the actual quality education that, one, I know I benefited from, but like the social media quick learning it's not, I don't think it's beneficial for these kids. I mean, sometimes I guess it may be, but honestly, they grow up thinking with that fast, quick gratification, this is how I learn, and they assume that, okay, social media is better than books or better than a professor that, or any expert who's been doing 10 to 15 years worth of studies. They're going to choose social media or some guy or a girl who has millions of followers, and they're just going to trust that based off of that. And that's why I feel like it's a negative effect when it comes to youth. But we'll keep going.
I'll actually like post a picture of it and I'll be like, hey, like I am really bad in this subject. Every single time people do message me and help me out, or like will comment and be like, hey, like actually this is what you're doing wrong and this is how you do it right.
Society would thrive more without social media.
I don't know if I should.
A bear did cocaine.
The ads, y'all.
The best nutrients for their best life. Science did that.
For me, on a macro scale, I think there are some really troubling signs that social media is kind of unwinding.
The question was, society would thrive more without social media, or would society thrive more without social media?
Society and humanity in the sense of like the democracy debate. Governments can use social media to then kind of undermine elections. And I think those are bigger issues when you look at the macro scale. But again, on the micro scale, there are so many different people in the world that would thrive with it.
I know other people that are like me. I think I would thrive more without social media because I compare myself and I look for those likes and look for those comments on my posts. And I feel like if I didn't have that concern, my mental health and my self-love and self-image would be so much better if I didn't see all this stuff on the internet.
A part of me wants to ask for like a definition for like thrive, because like, are we talking about like us as like a human race, or like people individually? Instagram and things can like make you have poor body image and this, that, but also like in the case of like Alex, it helps him, meet other trans people and understand that like he isn't alone, right? And so it's such a general question with so many variables that like you can't just like put one answer down.
Yeah,
it's so case by case.
You need to know if it's on the micro or macro scale.
And like Alex is a following that is a lot of other trans kids that are looking for other trans kids, and if Alex just went MIA for a month, people would panic, and like like I can totally like, sorry to like keep using you, but like this is like the easiest like analogy, right? I'm sorry, Alex. I love you, I
okay.
promise. I was just like, this
No,
is just like
don't
the
worry.
easiest example.
I have a question actually. So in the recent months especially, there have been a lot of protests and stuff that were, like a lot of them were created online, and I think that if we didn't have social media, a lot of them wouldn't have been possible because there wouldn't have been the word spread so fast.
I agree, yes. These protests got really big and it's really important, but the thing that I've kind of been looking at is the people that go and take a picture and they're like, oh my God, like I'm so supportive, and like they change their profile picture, they do the Blackout Tuesday, and then a week later it gets archived. When people go with like professional grade cameras and like bring a hair and makeup team to like sit there and like pose in the middle of the street, like it's less of the movement and more of the social media.
And yeah, and I think that's also a
So yeah, here's my thing about that specific question. Is to basically, for those in here, society would thrive more without social media. And then the student brought up whether it would not the student but the young teens, they brought up whether if it's on a macro scale or a micro scale. I think that social media has its positives where messages, messages have, we seen certain things that happen in certain countries that averagely we would not see if it wasn't for social media. So I do agree on that. And then of course, other countries helped out other countries because we've seen something go viral on social media. I do agree with that. But I think on a micro scale, it would thrive especially more for the simple fact that it will be more conversation. It will be more detailed scenarios when it comes to coming together as a community, figuring out what's going on, not just assuming, well, if such and such didn't post anything, then nothing's going on. It's more conversation going on as far as, going to City Hall, going to the community weekly community meetings to figure out what's going on, what needs to be done, and et cetera. Like the old school traditional, let's come together and figure things out. Not wait for someone to post something, and if they don't post it, or act like I'm supporting by sharing this and being the social media activist and things of that nature. So I think, but yeah, no, correct. Social media should be used as a tool, and as Kamal said, sorry if I'm saying it wrong, but Kamal 7, as he said, it should be used as a tool. But unfortunately, as far as the teens, they don't know how to use it as a tool. Some do. I'm not saying all, but majority don't know how to use it as a tool. They use it as, well, let me figure out how to go viral. And even if they go viral, they still don't really grasp how the process of going viral affects their brains, affects their minds, and affects what they're whatever it is that they're probably trying to do in real life. It takes away from that. They don't use it as a tool now. And this goes for adults as well. Some adults don't even use it as a tool. I know I use it as a tool for sure, and I know a couple of people also do as well. But a lot of people don't use it as a tool. But we'll continue. Here we go.
Perspective thing, because I think there was maybe one or two major influencers who were dumb enough to take a production team out there to take a picture, and I think that was for people like you guys who are anti-social media to focus, be like, wow, look at all these influencers, it's the whole entire community is just like them. And I was in New York for a couple of days, and I was in like Washington Square or something. They were passing out flyers. They're like, hey, share this on your Snapchat if you know anyone in New York. And I wasn't only in New York for like 2 days, but I posted it, and I got like, I don't know, like 40,000 people on Snapchat to watch it, and if they were in New York, they could go.
By these like performative parts, I'm not talking only influencers. Like, yes, that is a big part, and it is very troublesome when influencers do like kind of go out and like pose for like the picture rather than for the protest. But when people are kind of seeing like, oh, this is trendy, and when people have that desire to like go viral, they'll go out and they'll do it.
But here's like a scenario. What if me, Alex and Alexa, we all just teamed up, we did like a charity stream and then donated to, let's just throw back to like early 2020 where there was like fires. Wouldn't California or Australia thrive from us donating?
I do agree that social media does like promote awareness and it helps change, and definitely in our society because everyone's on social media. So if they see this and it gets spread, it's going to make change.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I made like the log off movement, is because I saw that there was this multifaceted nature about social media, and I at least just wanted to discuss it with teens and to be like, let's figure out how to exist in a healthier way. Yeah. And even though social media, we can talk about the good and the bad all day, it's just nice to be in one space and have one conversation.
I mean, yeah, technically social media did bring us here, so I guess that's like a thing. But like, hey, we don't have to talk about that.
All right. That was a fairly good good group of kids right there. I'm glad. I'm actually impressed at how well spoken they were. We are gonna go to another one. We're gonna go over a few few team wins. Quick videos, and then about 3 more, and then we'll be done for today. Hope all's well. Hope everybody is having a positive day today.
I want you to start looking for something. And I promise you, once you start looking for it, you'll never be able to stop seeing it everywhere you go. When's the last time you've walked into a restaurant and saw an entire table of friends on their phone?
Oh, let me pause this real quick. Let me do my intro and look at the comments real quick. Please, thanks for sharing this. The TV used to go off and sound out a signal. You cut it off, go to sleep. We have combat, bro. I agree. 24/7, 24/7, bro. I agree with that. And it's unfortunate too. David, what's going on? It's unfortunate, man. Media, like before the social media, it was media. Like it was TV, it was radio, telling y'all to go to TV and watch these episodes and etc. And the commercials. Like it always been around. It's just social media makes it a lot more easier now. But quick commercial break. Make sure that if you want to see the full, I did one live yesterday. I did 2 episodes actually, but if you want to see the full episodes, the full live streams, go ahead and subscribe to my channel right now. Not my channel, not my YouTube channel, but my channel on Instagram. You can hit Mr. That's Live, subscribe, and then all the full live streams will be on there. I won't be posting them on YouTube until later on. Major key alert! What's happening? What's going on? Hope all's well. So also make sure you view my shop. I have 2 designs, shirt designs right now, gear. One is, of course, my That's Life clothing line, which I always had for a while, but also my new shirt, my new design, which is Intellectual Conversations Only, ICO. Make sure you go ahead and support. If you don't buy anything, just share it. That will be as equal as support. I would gratefully appreciate it. So here we go. We're gonna get back into it. This is the second video of the day. We got 4 going on, or 4 to do, 2 more to go after this one. And let's go.
I want you to start looking for something. And I promise you, once you start looking for it, you'll never be able to stop seeing it everywhere you go. When's the last time you've walked into a restaurant and saw an entire table of friends on their phone? Or a group of people on the street? Or maybe even your family in the morning, each content to be in their own world, nearly unaware of the reality around them. If the majority of human interaction is nonverbal, what would happen if you removed everything but that small remainder for over a decade? As it turns out, that's the very experiment that we're living in today. I remember when I was growing up, way back in the day, a prehistoric time before everyone had a cell phone and computers were named after the year they were made in. Okay, I'm not quite a dinosaur yet, but I grew up in a unique time where half of my childhood was without the major technology and platforms that seem to rule parts of our lives today, and the other half of my childhood was rapidly slingshotted into the new age of technology. I remember from the earlier half of my childhood, life seemed different, especially human interaction. If you wanted to talk with someone, you had no other option but to physically go out and find them and spend uninterrupted time with them in the same room. And while you were there was nothing pulling your attention away, nothing in the back of...
I completely agree with that. I really do miss those days where we actually went out, we rode our bikes, we went to the park, we played games. There's no phone around. We didn't have phones. I didn't have a phone, at least, especially in my earlier teens. I didn't have a phone until my junior year in high school. And we actually were forced to literally be creative, make up games. If we were bored, we had to really get in our imagination and figure things out. In my classroom, my students always looking at their phones. If we had recess, they're not even playing on the jungle gym no more. They're not playing any games. You see a few of the kids that play sports, like they'll play basketball, whatever the case may be. But the rest of the kids, they're on their phones. They're not even engaged in what's going on. And going back to what I was saying earlier about people, these kids will literally go, not even say kids, younger people, adults as well, will go to a concert, pay hundreds of dollars for the concert, and literally be on their phone the whole time, like to record it, make sure they go on their phone, to make the caption, to post it, take the pictures, and not even truly enjoy the concert. They probably miss half of the concert just trying to post on social media, or they go out to a restaurant with somebody else or a number of people, and then they're on their phone looking down the whole time at their phone, not really engaging, not really talking. The only time they do engage, they get their food, they take the picture of the food, and they're more engaged in the caption to make sure that they know that they let everybody know that they're at this fancy restaurant, whatever case it be, and just not even being present. They're just like robots, and it's just so unfortunate. But we're gonna keep on going.
Your mind reminding you that there are hundreds of other people sharing information that you might be missing out on. That degree of presence, practiced day in and day out, created a different richness to human interaction, with intricacies and nuances that seems to be slowly and gradually lost the further we progress into this new age of technological advancement. And with the meteoric rise in popularity for documentaries like The Social Dilemma, it's safe to say that this is a growing sentiment and realization within today's culture. The terrifying crux to the problem is actually quite simple. There's a massive mismatch between the rate of adaptation and advancement between our biology and technology. Because of the law of accelerating returns, the pace of advancement in information technology is exponential, and while technology continues to grow at a rapid pace, we're left still trying to figure out how it actually impacts us, especially when we're teaching algorithms to predict and modulate our behavior. I don't think that anyone's denying that social media, as well as instant communication, is extremely addictive, and its addiction falls right within the same symptoms as substance abuse. But what we don't quite know yet is how this addiction over time changes not only our behaviors through hacking our positive reinforcement centers of the brain, but how over time it changes our perception of reality itself. When we first embarked upon the social media experiment, we had far more in-person interactions under our belt than we did interactions online. So we took our in-person frame of reference and viewed all of our technological interactions through that lens. But now, in a time when we have hundreds, even thousands of friends, acquaintances, celebrities, and online personalities that we keep up with online, we have slowly over time replaced the majority of our interactions with being digital. How much do we now view our in-person interactions through our new digital lens? As a prominent example, you can look at our growingly polarized political discourse in modern times, and you see that we've already started to see the symptoms of a very binary interpretation of human interaction. It's also worrisome to think that our upcoming generation's digital presence may end up being more important than their in-person presence. So how do we stop all of this from happening? Is the answer to shut it all down?
I want y'all to hear what he just said. He said, it's gonna be a time where, or it is, I know it's a time. The time is coming now, actually. The importance of the digital presence is more important than the physical and the real world presence. I need y'all to grasp this sometimes. And I said this to my cousin the other day. A lot of people literally wake up with their phone. They go to sleep with their phone in their hands, scrolling, seeing what everybody's doing, making sure that their post is doing whatever good, whatever case it be. And then they wake up in the morning, literally go to their phone and go on social media and scroll, looking to see what happened the night before, looking to see what everyone else got going on, and etc. Looking to see how much likes they got, looking to see who messaged them before getting out of the bed, before taking a shower, before brushing their teeth, before making sure that they're okay. They literally have not moved. They woke up, opened their eyes, and went straight to the phone, concerned about the rest of the world. Imagine, let's put this in a real life perspective. Let's say that you woke up and instead of going to the phone digitally in physical world, you went around your apartment complex or your neighborhood. You woke up, walked out the door before brushing your teeth, taking a shower, making sure you're okay. You went out the door and you looked through everybody's window, every neighbor's window, to see what they got going on. At 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning, whenever you first waking up. That's what the first thing you do before you go and brush your teeth and take a shower and see if your eyes is okay and see if your head, like, that's the first thing people do is they check their phone and check social media, and they scroll for 30 minutes to an hour prior to getting up out of the bed. It's unfortunate. it's unfortunate. The mindset is different, concerned about the world and not about themselves, right? Rod just said it. Concerned about the rest of the world, but not care to. Listen, you said it. I had to step my game way up. I'm monitoring how they use the tech and get better. Man, listen, them kids, man. I promise you, bro. You gotta do your part. Gotta do your part. All right, here we go.
Pull the plug on big tech. I don't think that it is. The truth is, we've opened Pandora's box, and this is the reality that we're now faced with. So what's the path forward? The first step is underway: awareness. Much of classical conditioning, and if you don't know what that is, Pavlov's dogs might ring a bell, is based on the more non-conscious mechanisms of the brain. If you become conscious of how the conditioning is affecting you, it gives you a degree of control over your behavior. Beyond that, it's important to maintain that balance of in-person and digital interaction. You want the lens that you view the world from to be a full 100% of human communication. Body language, emotion, facial expression, nuanced tonality. It's what we were designed to do, and we can't let that practice atrophy, because that's what creates our sense of identity and community that gives us a healthy view of others in the world. If we can maintain that balance, we can begin to have a healthier relationship with our online presence and retain control over the influence these platforms and technologies have on us. These algorithms are based on human behavior and response, and that's something we have control over. Take some small steps today. Maybe start by uninstalling some social media platforms from your phone. Then you have to physically go log into your computer to use it, removing some of the convenience. If you're tied to your phone for work, once the day is done, find some time to spend with your family and friends, and turn your phone completely off for it. Be fully present with the people that you're with. And you just might notice that the world isn't quite as crazy as it seems.
Listen, I do that all the time. I have a phone that's strictly social media and I turn it off. I always make sure I have 2 hours to myself before I go lay down and 2 hours to myself. That's for me after I wake up as well. And anytime I go on social media, I go on social media to post, keep them moving. I get off of it. Prior to me being heavy on social media, I used to deactivate my social media. So I would have to go on the computer and really try to, log on. And usually 9 times out of 10, I wasn't around the computer. So none of the apps were on my phone. So I had to, wait. If I wanted to go on it, I would have to wait until I got around a computer or a laptop and wait till I got around some Wi-Fi. So it puts you in that mindset where it's like, you don't need it. You'll realize that you really don't need social media at all to live your life. But a lot of these kids, it's unfortunate, they don't have that mindset. But there's some adults who literally treat social media or is affected by social media the same way the kids are. All right. So that's the end of this video.
And that the life right in front of you is beautiful.
Yeah, that's the end of this video. We got 2 more videos to go, and we'll be done for this episode. All right. Here we go.
Buying a home can be an exciting and rewarding experience.
Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, Sharenting.
How far will families go for social media likes?
Dirty diaper.
Down one and up one.
Family pride.
We've been posting a video every day for the last 3 years.
Or inappropriate parenting.
We can't dictate what another individual is going to find embarrassing.
You post about breastfeeding. You hope your daughter looks back at these posts and is proud of them. But what if she's not? Well, there's a term being called sharenting, which is the practice of parents publicizing sensitive content about their children on internet platforms. So, are some parents and family members crossing the line? And how far will families go for social media likes? Now, proponents of sharenting say it is their right as a parent to post whatever they want about their child. Now, critics, on the other hand, say family members posting sensitive content or oversharing about their children for social media clout is inappropriate, and it's risky for the child's mental health as well as possible future embarrassment. And because you never really know who your audience is, think about that. Well, we're going to talk about all of that today, so let's just get started. We're going to meet a family who has amassed roughly 16 million followers on social media. with 341 million views on TikTok by sharing their lives online. You're not a poster at all.
I am barely a poster. I will confess,
That's why I ask you. You do post some.
I do post some. And I will confess that when I first had my son, who's now 11, I was posting a fair amount on Facebook. And part of how I got interested in this topic was trying to figure out what was right for me and my family, which may be different than other people and their families.
Okay, so you did wade in.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay. I love your term. Also on stage is Sarah, a mom who uses her social media platform to educate parents about the dangers of public oversharing. And of course, that's the big question, Sarah, is what's the definition of oversharing? What's oversharing and what's not?
Yeah, and I think that can be interpreted differently for different people.
Yeah,
I don't know if there's a general.
It has to do with age, and it has to, but you never know who's watching.
100%.
This is full time. You're at this, you're busy at this.
Yes, we are.
How many posts have you put up?
We've been posting a video every day for the last 3 years, so I'd imagine over 1,000, at least over 1,000.
1,000?
Yeah.
Now, you say every so often you do get negative comments that usually come from trolls.
Yeah, I agree, Rob.
And by trolls, there are people that set up accounts, they don't have any followers. They just create an account with a screen name so they can say ugly things.
Absolutely. And honestly, I've learned to ignore it, but I'm just thinking for somebody that's not able to ignore it, that could really affect their mental health.
There are people out there that have no boundaries, no limits to what they will say and what they do. Now, Leah, you're concerned about people that post up. I think we would agree most parents don't intend to put their children in jeopardy. They don't intend to expose their children in some negative way. I think that would include probably 99% of parents.
Absolutely.
But your concern is that inadvertently they can be putting their children in jeopardy, exposing information that can create problems.
That is my concern, that we don't know who our audience will be now or in the future. We don't know how content may be repurposed, remixed, reshared, and used in ways that we can't anticipate as parents. I'm a mom myself. I've got 2 kids. I adore them, and I absolutely agree. I think almost all parents have their kids' best intentions at heart, and I can tell you folks do. So my concern is not with the parental choice up front. My concern is with how that content may travel. I am concerned about the world that we're living in right now.
Yeah, and you think that children's privacy is being invaded, even if they don't, he says his children don't really have an awareness of what's going on, but you think that also means they can't give consent.
Yeah, I don't think children are able to give informed consent. They don't know what they're getting involved with in regard to posting publicly on social media. You're an adult and you know consent and you know what you're getting involved in regard to the trolls and the potential, consequences and ramifications. And children just aren't aware of what social media is. They like to be filmed and they like to participate in the family activity, but they don't know the long-term ramifications and consequences to all the public oversharing.
Who here thinks that parents have a right to post whatever they want of their own children? It's their child, they can post whatever they want. Who here thinks that's true? Raise your hand really high. Now, who here thinks, nah, wait a minute, the kid's young and I know they may not have a good legal mind yet about their rights, but they should have a vote in all of this. Raise your hand. Okay, most of you think they should have a vote in all of this.
I think parents should just be mindful. I think parents should just be mindful because just because as a parent, you may be extroverted and you may be outgoing and etc., your child may not be that when they grow up. Your child may be shy and your child may be bashful and may not want to be, outgoing or want to be even famous, or anything of that nature. So I think just being mindful of that and the effects that can happen when you're doing it. But
my question is, you're saying the children, this could be exploitive, it could haunt them later or whatever, but if this was true, we would never have child actors.
I think in regard to child actors, and the comparison is made a lot between like social media kids and child actors, but one thing that child actors have that currently social media children do not are rules and regulations.
What do you think about that?
We need better state and federal laws and regulations and enforcement to get at some of those bad actors. But then in terms of making it possible for parents and sometimes grandparents and other adults who are choosing to create a business with their child's entertainment, we need to have some guardrails around that as well.
So you have how many children?
One.
Okay. And you've posted how many videos?
Hundreds.
Hundreds?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you post about breastfeeding, and you've gone past probably the average
Correct.
breastfeeding by how much?
I feel like in the US, the average is about 1 year old, but in other countries, you can go up to 7 years old, and that's completely normal. So I personally have just chosen to go a little bit longer because I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I'm able to. And so I love the bond with my child, and I know that it still gives her a ton of nutrients, so I do it.
And you post it, why?
Well, actually, the original time that I posted breastfeeding, I wasn't going to post it. I was joking around, taking a video, breastfeeding my daughter. We were dancing to whatever was popular at that time, and my niece was dancing as well. My sister was like, "Oh, you have to post this. It's hilarious." So I did. Nothing happened, and then about a month later, all of a sudden on TikTok, it just blew up a ton. And I got plenty of positive feedback, but also a ton of negative feedback.
And what was the negative feedback?
I had people going to the extent of telling me to kill myself, actually.
Telling somebody to kill themselves on the internet is just, there's no justification for it. Now, you say specifically when it comes to breastfeeding that you hope your daughter looks back at these posts and is proud of them.
Yeah, I don't know what the daughter would be proud of.
But what?
Oh, my fault.
Today on an all-new Dr. Phil.
We're living in right now.
Yeah, and you're concerned about
affect their mental health.
There are people out there that would include exposing information that can create problems.
That is my concern, that we don't know who our audience will be now or in the future. We don't around that as well.
So you have how many children?
Popular at that time, and my niece was dancing as well. My sister got plenty of positive feedback, but also a ton of negative.
On the internet, it's just,
my bad,
there's no justification for it. Now, you say specifically when it comes to breastfeeding that you hope your daughter looks back at these posts and is proud of them. But what if she's not?
Well, then that's something that we will have to deal with later. But I think that breastfeeding really is not normalized, and so you should be able to go out in public and breastfeed if you want. But so many people will look at you in public and think that you're disgusting, but I am just nourishing and feeding my child. It's not like I'm doing it to be sexual or do anything wrong.
For me, I think it all comes down to the topic of consent. It's one of the most important things we can teach our children is consent, and the best way to teach them is to model it. And as parents, that is our responsibility. So how can you model consent while at the same time taking it away from them?
We've talked to the cyber prosecutors, the cyber investigators, and there are hashtags that predators are drawn to, like hashtag bath time baby, hashtag kid bikini, but they're drawn to those hashtags, and that's where they go looking for content. Plus, there are other things they can do with these images, right?
That's right. There are other ways that individuals, but also companies, can take images that parents post on social media. So we have documentation that images of toddlers back in 2005 posted were used in 2019 or so to train facial recognition software. That's one of many examples of not individual perpetrators and bad actors, but actually companies swooping in and scooping up images and repurposing them. So you're absolutely right. That is a concern as well.
Yeah, what do you want to say?
It's just a lot to think about. I always say that there are certain things that I think should just be a general no-no for parents, and that's definitely like personal identifiable information, like full names and birth dates. And I think some topics should just be off limits. As you mentioned, bath time, potty training is also something that they look for, swimwear, as you mentioned. I believe there are certain things that maybe generally as parents we can all just agree on shouldn't be posted publicly online.
Well, we're back talking about sharing our lives on social media, and we've talked about a lot about the negatives today, but do my guests feel there are any positives to sharing information online? And yeah, I want to ask Robin, have you noticed sharing and social media has changed throughout the years?
Yes, it has changed so much. It's grown, all the platforms, so many platforms. And what I can't believe is how young the children are that get on these platforms. We were talking about Avery and London, and I can remember when they were just 3 years old, 4 years old, they could get on the platforms. They could show me how to set up a new account. Of course, I said, no, I don't want to do that. But so many out there, and they allow the children on them. Everything has changed. It's grown, and to me, it's very, very dangerous. It's scary.
You know, there's a term that you may have heard called presentism. And that's a term where you go back and find something that happened years in the past and pull it up to the present and judge it by current day standards. Things that might have been okay with the social mores and folkways of the time, but not today. And you pull it up, measure it by today's standards, and judge somebody by that. I worry about that too. How many of you will think about this differently, having focused on it with regard to your kids? Raise your hand if you would. Okay, that's what I thought. It does make you think, right? And it's too bad, but the fact of the matter is when kids get on the internet, they, on average, encounter a predator within minutes a significant percentage of the time. I mean, they're there. They know where kids go.
Yeah, I think that's the most. I'm not gonna finish this video, but I think that's the most kind of. That's my biggest concern is that these kids are so oblivious. They're so oblivious to what is real, what's fake, and what's a scam, what's not a scam. They don't know psychologically what's going on. They just assume that everything is real. They assume the accounts are real and etc. So unfortunately, they I think that's how now for sure, like how a lot of the young girls are into or gets into sex trafficking because they are the predators are on social media and the predators are acting like the boys that are of that age, and the meetups happen and they get kidnapped and etc. And then it's just unfortunate because these kids will never psychologically, historically, just chemically, their brains will not be able to decipher that until they grow older, and or we as adults, parents, teachers, whatever case it be, educate them on like, hey, this is fake, this is real. If they are going to use it, this is fake, this is real. At least educate them, because it's better that they know than just trying to either play it off like, well, they'll be all right. Everyone's on social media. It just sets them up for failure. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just unfortunate. We're going to go on to the last video, though, and then we're done for the day. We did 3 videos already. We're going to go to the last one. Very short, very quick.
If you're a woman who owns a business, then you need a virtual assistant. And not just any virtual assistant, you need a doer.
All right, last one.
In our book, Hold On to Your Kids, the last 2 chapters are about the digital media.
and it's a huge topic. And I would say if I had boys your kids' age, I would not let them near any device. First of all, the screen themselves are mesmerizing. And the more time a kid spends, and they're addictive. You try and peel a kid off their device, you see typical addictive protest and outrage, anger, all that kind of stuff. You're really coming between the addict and their addiction. Now, first of all, the screens themselves affect the brain. So the more times kids spend watching screens, the more it depletes their dopamine receptors. And dopamine receptors are the ones that get implicated in addiction later on. Number one, the child develops an attachment relationship with the machine. This is with 1 and 2 or 3 or 4-year-olds. So what we say about the digital media is it's a good thing, but so is sex and so is alcohol. But we don't give 2-year-olds alcohol and we don't introduce 5-years-old to sexual practices. Why? Because they're not ready to handle it. So you give digital media to kids when they're old enough to handle it. When are they old enough to handle it? When they no longer rely on it to meet their emotional needs, but they use it for the function for which it was developed, which is information and communication. Those are legitimate goals. But when kids are immature and their attachment needs have not been met yet, they can use the digital media to meet their attachment needs, which displaces real human attachments. So what happens on Facebook? Kids have friends. What happens on Facebook? Kids like each other. These are attachment dynamics, except the friends are not real friends, because a real friend is somebody who really knows you intimately and accepts you and supports you and wants the best for you. These Facebook friendships are highly conditional, as shown by the fact that when people displease each other, they defriend each other. And the likes are not real likes, because what is being presented on digital media, it's a self-chosen particle of who I really am. That's what shows up on Facebook. And so people like a part of me. But how does that satisfy my need to be accepted?
I say it all the time. Social media, like you just said, people like a part of you. What you put on social media is usually 9 times out of 10, especially with kids, they're gonna post their best part of them, their best picture, their best video, and same with adults, their best whatever the case be. And people only like that best per se part of you. And I always say, man, just because people like your pictures, or just because people love your pictures, doesn't mean that they love you. Just because people like your pictures doesn't mean that they like you. They just like your pictures. They like the way you look, or they like whatever it could be. But it doesn't mean they know you to a T, or it doesn't mean that they like you personally. They only like a piece, a percentage of you, and that is, and if you are being true to yourself or being true on social media, they only like that part. But if you're being fake on social media and you're not really posting how you truthfully feel, then they like a fake part of you. They don't like the organic or natural you. They like a disingenuous sense of you, in a sense. So just be mindful. Just be mindful. But he brought up a good point. I had to stop to say that. This is Dr. Gabriel Mate, by the way. Here we go.
And respected and loved for who I really am. It actually undermines it. So the digital media is the very opposite of genuine human contact. If you got 2 young kids now, and if you got parents who live in the United States, and those kids want to connect with their grandparents, what a great device Skype is or Zoom is. Anyway, that's a great way to connect. Yeah. But who needs to be in charge of that? In other words, the digital media can be introduced to the child's life when the parents can stay in control of it. When the media takes over and the child has got this addictive relationship, the child is not ready for it. So we say, don't introduce it too early, stay on top of it, and you'll be in charge. Real teaching happens through personal contact, through engagement, through inviting and eliciting the kid's curiosity, through appealing to the child's increasingly sophisticated mind to hold complex ideas, contradictory ideas sometimes at the same time. Those depend on maturation, and that maturation depends on relationship with human beings. So I think if I was running the education system, I would introduce computers maybe in grade 11 or 12. And kids wouldn't have missed anything because they can pick up like that. I would have them define their own educational goals. I would have them do research. That doesn't appear at the click of a thumb. They have to go to the library and they have to really look it up and get a sense of what it's like to really look.
I just said that earlier. They miss out the research aspect of really truly learning a subject topic. They're so quick with the top 10 steps to change the world, or 5 steps to start a business, or 5 ways to cheat on math, or 6 ways to do something in reading or language arts with the Google search, whatever it could be. they missed out the skills it takes to actually read a book and do some actual research and learn from people who took the time, who are experts in whatever their field is. They have this short attention span and this short, quick. I need to figure it out fast. The reading takes too long, and actually doing research takes too long. It takes them away. I think we're gonna have like a lackluster of a generation who has the patience to do some nitty gritty things. Not saying that technology is bad, but it takes away from that skill in itself. Um, but yeah, we'll keep going.
For something, and then you give them the tools. Oh, now you can do this stuff. Here's a much easier way to do it. It's not about the teaching, it's about what helps people, human being, develop into an autonomous, curious, self-motivated, individuated human being. And virtually everything about digital media undermines those qualities. And again, this is with full respect for the power of the media and the value and the amazing services and it can provide. There's no denying that. There's no point being a Luddite about it. It's just a question of recognizing where in child development does it actually fit in, and where is it going to be support, and when is it a detriment. And in this society, it's gone rampant. And you even see, I mean, in Vancouver, I see this. A parent is pushing a kid in the tram, and what the parent doing? Interacting with their cell phones. What's the message to the kid? That I'm not important.
All right, y'all. That is it for the day. I've been on here for a little bit too long, I'll probably say. Too long for me being on here. Appreciate everyone tuning in, chopping in. It means a lot to me. If you want to see the whole live stream, make sure you subscribe to me on this page, on my Mr. That's Live page. You will see the full live stream. You see the full live stream on there, as well as the live streams and the shows that I did 2 days ago, back to back. I will try to do one every single day around the same time, anywhere between 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern. If there's another topic that you want me to go over, just shoot me a DM and I'll probably review some videos and stuff like that over that topic. I will be also teaching some certain classes, some life coaching classes as well. I'll be giving a lot, so I'll try to do something daily, but for sure I'll do something on the weekends. But I appreciate all those who commented on Facebook / as well on Instagram. So once again, if you want to see the full live stream and the full shows back to back, no edits, that will be on my Instagram page. If you subscribe, it's only $4.99 a month. If you wanna support me as well when it comes to clothing, buy 2 of my shirts design. I'll be doing new designs every week. The 2 designs that are up there now is a That's Life shirts, That's Life logo. For those who don't know, That's Life means do anything to say life is for everything. So instead of getting mad or sad or having a negative attitude towards certain situations, you simply say that's life, be positive, move forward in a positive direction, because there's no point to dwell in the past or negativity, because the world is going to spin with or without you. That's one design, and the next design is the ICO series, which stands for Intellectual Conversations Only, and that is another design or another series of design that I'll have coming forward. So once again, I appreciate you all, and I'll see y'all tomorrow or maybe another day. I don't know when I'm gonna go live again, but I'm gonna try to do it daily. If not, it'll be every other day. But if not, for sure, it'll be every weekend. Y'all be blessed. Y'all be positive. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.